Hello and welcome again to another WordPress training video for the Nebraska Libraries on the Web project. And in this video I'm going to be talking about widgets. Now widgets are a little hard to explain, a little hard to demonstrate, but with a little practice you really will get the hang of this one. So bear with me here and let me kind of talk about what they do and what they look like. The first thing I'm going to do is show you where they are. Here I am on the test blog for creating training videos, and I'm going to go ahead and select Appearance, and this is where you're going to pick your theme, and then under Appearance is Widgets. Okay. Now I'm going to get us here, and then I'm going to switch screens for just a moment. What I'm going to do here is look at the actual blog itself. Now, each theme that you may use will have slightly different options available for widgets. This is what makes it kind of a little hard to explain. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use the default theme here that we have on our training blog. And if I scroll down a bit, in most cases what you're looking at is the sidebar. Now, depending on your theme, you might have a sidebar on the left or sidebar on the right, or you might have both. Some themes will allow you to put widgets in the bottom or in the top of the page. This is going to vary from theme to theme. I do want to stress that. However, what I'm going to do for the demo here is just kind of focus on this one particular sidebar. And as you can see here in my sidebar, I have a search box, I have recent posts, recent comments, archives, categories, and this meta information here. Now, some of this may have shown up by default. Some of this I could have added earlier. However, what the control here, what the key feature here is that each one of these things, the search box, the recent posts, the recent comments, archives, etc., is what's known as a widget. A widget is a piece of content that you can place into an area of your theme so that it shows up on every page. Different widgets will display different pieces of content. For example, the search widget shows the search box. The recent posts widget shows recent posts. The archives widget shows the archives. One you don't see here is the links widget. That would show any links you set up in the links area of your dashboard. So you can control which of these show up and in what order they show up and where they show up. So let me kind of just briefly show you how to do that. So I'm going to go back to our back end here, and you will see I have my menus down the left, I have available widgets in the center, and I have what are called my widget areas down the right-hand side. Now I'm going to kind of close some of these up here. Excuse me, and you will see that in this theme I have 6 different widget areas available to me, and they are titled primary, secondary, first footer, second footer, third footer, and fourth footer. Now, that being said, your areas will be different depending on the theme that you have chosen. Some will only have 1, some will have 2. In this case, I have 6. Okay? I'm not necessarily going to use all of them. Now, how do you know where on the screen each of these are going to show up? Well, put in a widget, save your changes, go over to your site, see where it shows up. That's really the best piece of advice I can give you. In my case, I can see here by opening up my primary widget area that here's my search, my recent posts, my recent comments. So going back to our site, you can see that is this right-hand sidebar on my page. Now, important thing I need to mention right here really quick. When you first pick a theme, there will generally be some content in one or more of your widget areas. However, you might not actually see any content in the widget areas here in the back end. Okay? In other words, it might say, hey, your primary widget area doesn't have anything listed in it, but when you look at your page, there will actually be content there. That's okay. Themes come with default content. The moment you start customizing that content, all of your defaults will go away, and only the stuff you put there will appear. Okay? So let me state that again, because this is very important when you first get started. When you first pick a theme, chances are there will be content or widgets already there, but they will not be listed on the screen we are currently looking at right now. The moment you start customizing that widget area, any of the default content will disappear, and it will only show the items you've picked. Okay? So let me just show you here real quick an example. Okay? I've got this sidebar here. I've got search, recent posts, recent comments, archives, category, and meta. Well, I can look down my list of available widgets here, and I see this one called calendar, and that's going to show a calendar of my site's posts. Okay, so I've decided I want the calendar to show up in my primary widget area, and I want it to show up underneath search, but before recent posts. Notice how as I hover over this gray bar here, this turns into a 4-pointed arrow. I'm going to click and hold, and basically this is a drag and drop, so I'm going to go ahead and drag this over here. And as you can see, as I start moving it around, a little dash box shows up. Okay? If I was to let go, it would drop here. Well, I want it to be here, so I'm going to drop it here. Okay? This then opens up, and I can put a title on this if I want or not. I'm just going to go ahead and leave it alone. I'm going to go ahead and click Save. A little timer will show up. That disappears. I'm now going to switch back over to my site. I'm going to do a refresh. And you'll see now that calendar has shown up in between my search box and my recent posts. Okay? If I don't like it there, if I want to move it somewhere else, I'm going to go ahead and close this up. And I'm going to drag it, and I'm going to put it right here. Okay? That changes. You might have noticed right up here a little timer showed up. Okay? Go back over here, refresh, and now it's moved down below. Okay? Scrolling a little fast there. Okay. Now, let's say I've decided I don't want that at all. I want to get rid of it. Well, there's two ways to do this. And the first one is really easy. Just kind of grab it from your widget area, drop it back over into the available widgets, and it will disappear. Your changes will be saved automatically. And if I go ahead back to my blog and refresh, you'll notice down here the calendar just disappeared. Okay. Now, let me show you some of the different things you can do here. Now, each widget will have different settings. So for example, if I open up the search widget, I can put a title on this and I can say search our sites. Okay, what's that going to do? We're going to go ahead and click Save, switch back over and refresh. And actually I'm going to need to scroll up here just a little bit, and there is the title of our widget, search our site. Okay, so in many cases you can add a title to something, or you can not have a title on something. I'm going to go ahead and close that, delete that, click Save, kind of put it back the way it was. Now, if I want to show open up recent posts here, I can open that up, and you can see there's different choices. I can title it, which by default is recent posts, but now I can also customize the number of posts I want to show at any one time. Okay, so that is a different set of options. Go ahead and close that. If I open up archives, you'll now see I have a title, which I can put in, or I can leave it as archives. But then I can say, well, do I want to display it as a drop-down, or do I want to show the number of posts that were published in any particular month? Okay? So different widgets will have different options available to you. Okay? Now, let me show you one other widget that I think is really important and something you may want to pay attention to. Okay? Let's say maybe you want to put the address of your library in the sidebar up at the top at all times, maybe even the hours. But let's just stick with the address for just a moment. Okay? Most of the widgets that are available to you are going to be kind of pre-configured. They're going to do something very specific. They're going to show pages. They're going to show a calendar. They're going to show the archive. Okay? Maybe categories, or even a Google Translator, which I've installed for you. There's kind of a generic one here, if I scroll down a little bit, called text. Okay. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take this text box and I'm going to drag it up here, and I'm going to just drop it right there for now. Okay. And it immediately opens it up, and actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to close it up because it's not where I want it. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to now drag this right up to the top of my list. Okay. Now, by default, the text box doesn't do anything. But once you open it up, basically what you get is a blank box into which you can put anything you want, whether that be plain text or maybe some code you've gotten from another website. For example, some libraries have put a little badge in the sidebar showing recent photos that they've uploaded to Flickr. Okay? In that case, you would get the code from Flickr, create a text widget, and then paste in that code. I'm going to keep it nice and simple here with some text. I'm just going to say location and hours. And it's at 1200 N Street, Suite 120, Lincoln, Nebraska 68508, and we are open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Okay. Now, a couple of things here with the text. What I would do is I would just type in what you want and save it and see what it looks like first, and then I'll talk about this little option down here. Okay. So I've saved my changes. I'm going to go ahead and refresh over here, and you'll see what happens. I have location and hours, but notice the text is kind of completely run together. Okay. If that happens, your general solution there is to check this box here that says automatically add paragraphs. Resave that, and in most cases that's going to fix your problem, and we should see here, there we are. Okay. Now, with the text box, I will say if you want to center it, if you want to change the font, anything like that, you're going to need to learn a little bit of HTML to do that, maybe some cascading style sheets, also known as CSS. But in most cases, a text box will just allow you to type in some content, whether that be plain text or code, save it, and then have that show up. All right. One other thing I want to talk about with widgets as I close that up. All right. If I scroll down here, there's one other area down here at the bottom called Inactive Widgets. Okay. What this is going to allow you to do is to delete a widget but not lose anything you've customized. Okay. Now, the best example I can give for this right now is basically our text area, or excuse me, our text widget. If, as I showed you before, I was to drag it over here, that would make it disappear, and I would even lose the text that I had put into it. If instead I scroll on down a bit here, all the while dragging it, and I drop it into inactive, what's going to happen is that's going to take it out of my widget area. And just to prove that it's gone, I'm going to go ahead and refresh here, and you will notice that location and hours has disappeared. Okay. But if I ever want to put it back, okay, I can now drag it out of inactive widgets. It has saved all of my content from before. Drag this back up here. This takes a little practice, as you can see. Okay, put that back. Go back to my web page and refresh. And you will see that it is back, and I did not have to recreate my content. Okay. The last thing I'll just also mention here, you can put in whatever widgets you want. You can have more than one text widget. In fact, on my own personal website, I have a text widget for contact information. I have a text widget which shows my recent Flickr photos. I have a text widget that shows recent bookmarks that I've added to my Delicious account. I have a text widget that uses some code to put in a little map of where people have visited my website. There's all sorts of possibilities out there. And as I expand these training videos, I'm sure that I will be putting up more videos, more training about particular widgets that we've made available for you. If you have any questions about a particular widget, please feel free to leave a comment here on this post, and I'll either answer that question directly, or if justified, if there's enough content there, I can probably make a separate video just specifically for that widget. So as you're setting up your site, play with widgets, play with your different widget areas. Like I said, they're going to differ from theme to theme, but go ahead and have some fun with it. Play with the drag and drop. It does take a little practice, but I promise you will get the hang of it. So as always, if you've got any questions, leave a comment on this video in the project site, and I look forward to helping you out. Thanks.